What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Eric's house. I've had a couple of days now to process this new Superman movie, and the more I think about it, the more I dislike this movie. And I know a lot of people enjoyed it. I'm hearing lots of people give it positive reviews, glowing reviews. I mean, hey, you like what you like. If it's your cup of tea, it's your cup of tea. Enjoy your tea. But for me, this movie sucks. And most comic book movies suck. And a lot of it has to do with the DCEU trying to copy Marvel and try to create their own universe with all the comic book characters existing within the universe. And it doesn't really work that well. It's kind of hard to pull off. Marvel did an amazing job pulling that off. I still don't love the Marvel Cinematic Universe because I find there to be too much humor. That's a pet peeve of mine. So I was excited for the DCEU going with a darker spin, going with a more realistic spin, hopefully, starting with Man of Steel. And I really like Man of Steel. I do. I think that's a really good Superman movie. But from that point, they rushed that universe. They had to hurry up with Batman v Superman, which I thought was a bad movie. Then, of course, Justice League, before most of the characters even had their own movie. They rushed through that, being greedy. And I know a lot of it was studio meddling and all this, but these movies, they sucked more often than not, and the DCEU was a complete and utter disaster. So they had to shut it down, and now they're starting a new one with James Gunn at the helm, and we have Superman, this new 2025 movie to kick it off. And oh my gosh. And I'm going to talk about this movie and why I think I'm pretty much done with comic book movies going forward, especially within a larger universe, because they're just all over the place with comic book characters everywhere, and they're just trying to do too much with the CGI spectacle constantly, with the jokey. The jokes don't stop. No real emotional beats in these things. They're just not good movies. They're not good movies. I'm sorry. And this one, not a good movie. There's a couple that I've enjoyed in the recently, but not too many. And I'm going to get into this one, and I might be a little bit all over the place, but I don't think this movie is, in the long term, going to be considered a good movie. I think in the long term, in 20, 30 years from now, this is going to be considered a piece of shit. I hope that filmmaking gets better in this space right here. And I understand comic book movies, they're for fun, kind of. They're not, it's not a Scorsese movie. It's not like that, but they're going too far the other way, in my opinion. Just like screw like good storytelling and actual emotional moments and an actual great story and a middle, beginning, and an end. And no, screw all that. Let's just have fun and just throw it all out there and just go crazy with it. And make sure to have a joke every 3 seconds. And that's what this movie essentially does. And I didn't like it at all. But let's get into some of the specifics about this movie. And there could be some spoilers. I'm not worried about spoilers. I'm not going to intentionally go through the plot and spoil this movie. But, you may be able to figure some things out. But I'm guessing you've already seen it if you're here. So the movie sucks. Superman is a total wimp in this movie. It's true. I heard that he cries throughout the whole thing. I didn't really notice him literally crying too much, but he is always on the defense, and he's definitely not the great Superman at all. And I get it, this is supposed to be maybe a setup movie or earlier in his career or whatever here, even though they do hit the ground running, like they skip over him arriving at Earth and his early upbringing in his colleges or his high school years and all that. That's fine. The dog. Got to talk about the dog, Krypto. The dog literally saves Superman at the opening scene and in the final fight, the final scene of the final fight, and pretty much several times in between. Anytime Superman gets in trouble, which is pretty much every conflict, he just whistles for the dog, and the dog comes and saves it. The dog kicks everyone's ass. The dog is having no trouble with these villains that Superman can't handle. The dog is the Superman of this movie. And, and is he like a companion to Superman and they fight side by side? No, Superman hates this dog. Superman does not like the dog. Superman finds the dog annoying. Superman is constantly giving the dog a hard time and pissed off at the dog. And it's not even his dog. He's dog sitting. He's dog sitting a dog that he doesn't like, and the dog is constantly present in the movie. How this doesn't bother people, I don't know. I love dogs, and the dog is cute, but I don't even think it's a real dog. It's a CGI, clearly a CGI AI dog, constantly in the movie, literally saves Superman in the opening scene and the final scene, and multiple times in between. Right off the bat, what the hell is that? That was James Gunn's idea. People are loving it. Ma, Pa, Kent, complete rednecks. Total rednecks, okay? Countrified from the middle of nowhere in Kansas and Smallville. This is James Gunn's idea of a married couple who own a farm in Kansas. They're going to have to be a couple of complete rednecks. This movie, yeah, I know, the short attention spans these days and the TikTok stuff. You know what? If you give any human being a great film with a great story, an emotional story, a well-paced story, and you give them a great Superman movie, they're going to enjoy it. They're going to say, hell yes, that was amazing. Okay, you do not have to go full TikTok, got to keep the attention span the entire time, and that's what this movie does. There's no moments to breathe. There's no emotional moments. If there is an emotional discussion that lasts a few seconds, they have to have something else weird going on to kind of distract you and keep your mind simulated, your retarded, dumb brain simulated during that moment. So that's what happens. Like there's a moment where Clark Kent or Superman or whatever, he's talking with Lois, and they're together here. Lois already knows the secret. It's like we don't go through all that. We're just jumping right in here. We're hitting the ground running here. And they already are in love, and they're boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. And they're having a discussion, an important discussion. But they have to make sure they do it by the window of the apartment so we can see some weird alien creature thing in the sky. And people shooting at it. A little battle going on out in the window. And maybe part of that is to show us that, war is going on and shit's just hit the fan. It's crazy and it's just commonplace. People don't even notice it anymore. In fact, Superman doesn't even have to help. He's like, they got it. They don't need me for everything. What were you saying, Lois? But during that whole conversation, you see the weird bubble circular creature thing. I don't remember what it looked like, but it was just it reminds me of like the TikTok videos and YouTube Shorts videos where you have something going on, some like little blocks are building or something interesting and weird going on, to keep your mind looking at that while you're hearing information, because we can't just hear the information, have someone just say it to us because we're too dumb and we got to see something else to distract us. Like, ooh, look at that. Because we're too dumb these days, apparently. So there's always something CGI going on. The entire movie, there's CGI, spectacle going on. It never stops. And there's no big emotional moments or conversations or important dialogue. The dialogue sucks in this movie, and that's why the line delivery feels like it sucks, because the dialogue sucks. It's really bad. There's a lot of that expository dialogue explaining us. We're completely spoon-fed everything in this movie. They have to say it, and it's really awkward because it just the audience is given no credit in this movie. It's one of those type of movies. So they think we're dumb. Jokes throughout the movie, quips throughout the movie. It's written in there. It's not good. None of it's funny. Didn't laugh one single time. Didn't feel like anyone else in the theater laughed. I didn't think anyone else in the theater. I didn't feel any energy or. That just my particular experience, I didn't feel any energy or anyone else was enjoying the movie. But yeah, jokes throughout. And I just watched an episode of Smallville yesterday. I think I'm towards the end of season 4, maybe season 3. I just noticed how like when stuff is serious, stuff is serious. It's just great writing. It's a great show, and it's from a time before this TikTok horrible era that we're in right now. And yeah, I know, call me old or whatever, but it's just funny how good it is and how good the writing is. And it's not that there's no laughs. There's a funny moments here and there, genuine funny moments that happen naturally and you laugh, like genuine laugh, but not constantly. And they don't try to do it constantly. Whereas here, there has to constantly be jokes. And they're that modern style of humor, which I can't describe. You just have to see it. The characters kind of acting dumb or just acting kind of like clueless for a moment, and it's done for laughs. It's hard to describe, but it sucks. It's not funny at all, but they try to be funny every single second. So any kind of drama or action or anything like that, yeah, you're going to get cut through with a joke constantly. Doesn't matter what's happening. People can be dying, which in this movie, by the way, you know, one of the criticisms of Man of Steel was at the end, and I shared that criticism. I just thought it was a little much when the entire city is crumbling and buildings are falling. Like, they go crazy with the CGI, and I'm thinking, like, dude, this is like 10 9/11s at once here. This movie here is like 100 9/11s at once. I mean, buildings are getting split in half. The whole freaking city is getting split in half, and buildings are crumbling and falling on top of each other. But they act like no one's dying. They're like zero casualties. So zero casualties, and then they'll show Superman. They'll show a building about to fall on a car with the woman driving, and then Superman will come down and save her and pick the building, and she drives off. And it's like, oh, you saved someone. Yeah, there's probably 20 million dead people over there in downtown. But they don't say that or show that. But you're thinking, like, everyone's dead, and then Superman will make a joke. Superman will make a joke with one of the other superheroes flying around, and they'll be like quipping and making jokes while clearly thousands of people dead. There's got to be bodies all over the place. Are those buildings all empty as there's nobody walking in the streets? Oh, maybe they evacuated. I think there was something about that. Oh, stop it. There's people all over the place in that city. There has to be dead people everywhere. But they didn't, and if there wasn't any people, then who cares? Let the buildings fall down. Doesn't matter either way. But they didn't. It was just, again, a constant CGI and just insanity throughout the movie, just to simulate our minds. And by the way, there was so much CGI and so much special effects and so much of that never stopped. That despite the budget, with $225 million, the CGI sucked at times. It looked like crap. It looked fake. Sometimes I'm talking PS2, sometimes maybe they upgrade to PS3 style, but the graphics and the CGI sucked, I thought, in large part. And I think it's because they stretched it so thin. They didn't have to do that. You could take $225 million and make an amazing Superman movie with some incredible special effects and CGI, just blow people away while using it wisely and having a great story and not needing to use that for 2 hours and 10 freaking minutes. The entire length of the movie, there was CGI going on. Oh, one thing after another. Like I said, James Gunn just wrote it out. Like, let's do this now. Let's have this crazy character. Let's see what my imagination can come up with. And yes, some of them were real comic book characters, but yeah, so it just, I didn't even find it like a real movie, like with a middle, beginning, and an end, and a development. It was just all over the place. Just chaos, destruction. Yeah, the Justice Gang in this movie, Green Lantern, they were okay. Mr. Terrific was okay. He was an okay character. Hawk Girl was annoying. Lots of Gen Z references throughout the movie, and I know we live in Gen Z again, but you know, hashtag this, hashtag that, social media, selfies. If you grew up with that stuff, then maybe that's all natural. But for the old school people, it's like it's just on top of everything else that's annoying. You have that. And I just don't think James Gunn was the man for this movie. James Gunn also, he put his little political footprint in the movie. It's kind of a backdrop to it. You can see the parallels between what's going on in this movie and real world situations. And that in and of itself would not have been a big deal. But he's just, he thinks of two farm owners in Kansas, got to be super redneck. He's grew up rich. He grew up whatever you want to call it, he's obviously super liberal Hollywood guy. And, I just don't think that's the guy for this movie. I don't know who the guy for this movie is. I mean, whoever it is going to be a super liberal Hollywood person. We know that. But even if we ignore that, James Gunn, the types of movies he makes, the Guardians of the Galaxy and all that, just, team up movies with a whole bunch of people and a bunch of characters and wild characters and constantly joking and humor. Does that seem like the fit for a Superman movie? No. And the Superman movie gets distracted by all these other characters that they're trying to prepare for this, world. Notice the Batman movie was I think it was really good. Because they didn't have to worry about that. They didn't have to worry about slipping in all their characters because we're building this big world. The Joker movie. Imagine if they were trying to throw in all these other characters, having to give them screen time. The movie would have sucked. So I know Marvel pulled it off, but DC, you don't have to copy Marvel. Just make solo movie, make a Superman movie, make a Batman movie. find a great Superman character and make four of them like this that Christopher Reeves did. And I know that Superman 4 wasn't that great, but man, the movie sucks, man. Is there anything good about it? Not really. I mean, the other thing I can say good about it is not super boring. I mean, it's kind of boring because you're just constantly just craziness and you're not getting a true story. But when I say it's not the most boring, it's not like talk and boring, kind of like I found that recent Mission Impossible movie to be more boring than this, at least for the first hour, because at least something's always going on in this movie. That's the only positive I can say. Something's always going on, and it's watching it how bad it is. Almost like it doesn't quite cross the line of so bad it's good, but it approaches it. It approaches it. It's bad. It's bad. So I'm done with comic book movies, and I'm not even going to review them anymore unless it's something I find interesting, because I don't like to waste my time. I don't get enough views on my movie reviews to waste my time on this garbage. So I'm done. I'm not going to follow the DC anymore. Movie sucks, by the way. Let me give it its score. I think it's trash, dude. I think it's bad. It's not the worst movie ever made, but not many redeeming qualities in this. I hated it.